Hey guys, it's Alex here. I'm going to be doing a battery terminal on my 2002 Mitsubishi Lancer. But first, if you haven't already, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my channel content for more, and hey, have fun. Now, the battery terminal on my 2002 Mitsubishi Lancer actually had failed. Believe it or not, the corrosion buildup was causing a ground issue, leading to my vehicle pulling power, but dying immediately. Well, that could be a skew of other problems, but in this case, after having tested it, it came out to the battery terminal. The corrosion on the battery terminal was causing my car not to ground the way it should have. And if it was a ground to the body, at least that would be a more difficult and more fun thing to do. But the ground was right at the battery terminal. You can see it. Yeah. Here's another thing. There is a battery terminal crimp tool specialty for those battery terminal connectors. When you crimp the wires don't kind of peel apart and exit as you're crimping. Now, I haven't had a problem with the way I did it, and you know, I feel like if it works, it works. The special tool, yes, would make it more and more professional, and I just don't want to spend the money on this professional tool I'm only going to use once, honestly. Right now, I could have borrowed one from a coworker or something, but I know that they didn't have it because I asked. Without further ado, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I've been feeling a little off for a little bit, so I haven't been doing much around cars, just taking it easy, but hopefully you guys enjoy, and let's get to it. My battery terminal needs to be replaced, so that's what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna alter this a little bit so we can try and prevent some of this in the future. So what I'm going to do is take a 12mm and loosen it. Obviously, I can loosen this without any hesitation, which means that I really do need to replace that. I'm going to use an 11mm socket to loosen and remove the old connector. I never did like these crimp style connectors. They just never worked very well, but look at that. Oh, gross. Look at how it's, oh yeah, so bad. To correct this issue, I'm going to remove the zip tie that I put here like 10 years ago. There we go. Split these apart. We're going to take a battery terminal connector, place it over the top of my connector, ensuring that it's clean first of all. Last thing I want is for this to corrode on the inside. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna trim this one down just a little more. And I'm just gonna take my Eastco knife and just kind of trim back some of the shielding. And I take the wire connector, or the crimp, slip it over the top, kind of just jam it in there, kind of twist it a little bit. Now I'm gonna take my crimping tool and crimp it. I'm going to ensure that I crimp it both on the metal and crimp it down here as well. So I want to see how far it goes, slips on. Sweet, I have an idea, it slips onto about right there, so that means I can crimp it there and there. To ensure a proper connection, I'm going to take this and then just squeeze it down and crimp it. Oh yeah. I'm gonna do the same for the second one. If I can even get it crimped. Let me come around and do it on the other side. There's number 2. Oh yeah. Is now that these are crimped, I stick the heat shrink on it just in case dirt and debris get in. So that's what I'm gonna do next. But typically what I like to do is pretty much this, where I can put the terminal connectors on the actual battery terminal just like that, and then they'll be hanging off the edge like so. Then if I ever need to replace them, I don't have to replace the whole unit and just have it compressed in that little slot and get hit by the corrosion. It'll hit the wire terminal before it hits the actual wire itself. thus reducing a further problem that I don't want to deal with. So I'm gonna stick some heat shrink on this, and then I will button it all down. I've got the heat shrink ready to be put on. Just gonna take this, knowing that this isn't going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's pretty well compressed in there. Okay, sweet. Just gonna take that heat shrink and kind of just wrap it across the top like so. Taking my heat gun and just wrapping it around. Going around town. Just gonna slip the heat shrink over the top, like so. Knowing that this won't go anywhere. Shrink it down. Now I can take my battery connector, stick 1, 2 on there. So this is where you would crimp it in there. I really just don't like that. I could either stick them here or here. I kind of like sticking them here. Just depends on the preference choice, I feel like, on the person. I haven't ever had a problem with doing this. I really do like this method though. I feel like it's better, cleaner, and it looks better. Okay. Just slip the first one through. The nut goes on the back side. Stick the second one through. Nut goes on the back side. Use that 11mm and tighten these just snug for now, up until I can get my final tightening. 12mm wrench. Tighten this down just snug. I don't want to over tighten it, because if I over tighten it I can't reuse this, but luckily now that I've done this to my terminals, I can use it, swap these over relatively easily. There we go. Just tighten those down so they're snug. There we go. See if the engine starts. Well, it looks like my engine starts. So now that I've corrected the ground, now I got to do the positive terminal, which I'll do in a later video because I don't actually need to do it right now, just the ground, because the ground was kind of iffy. But now that looks so much better than it did being just stuffed in that stupid little spot. And if this breaks, I can always replace it. Take a wire brush and grind down these and clean them up. Well, how was that, folks? It actually wasn't too difficult. I got to put on my my close-up glasses. I mean, at the strung lung age of 22, I actually have to wear the other glasses. But it wasn't that difficult to mend. And I told you, this was the total problem to my car. Though the problem may be different on your car, this was the total problematic issue with my car. And it was a really simple fix. And because I didn't like the style, I never loved doing the little crimping down on those crappy little battery terminal connectors. I always do it on cars with those terminal connectors to connect to those battery terminal connectors. So they take more time to do, actually amounts to a lot easier work. And I mean, if you're the person who either likes one way or the other, do let me know, but I've always found it better to do it with the battery terminal connector crimped or soldered to that connector before hooking it to the main connector on the battery. Now, this makes it so if that battery connector does corrode again, since it does have lead in it and all that other good elemental stuff in it, it makes it so I can just unscrew the two 11mm bolts or the two 11mm nuts, whichever way I decide to do it from, and just switch over the connector. Now, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my channel content for more, and hey, have fun with cars. All right, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go take a rest.